ESG investing is one of the fastest growing investment philosophies that we've seen in recent years. I'm Megan Horniman, the Director of Portfolio Strategy for Verdant's Capital Advisors. ESG investing is a philosophy where you only invest in companies that adhere their business standards to really three main pillars. There's the E, environmental. Are there carbon emission standards? Are there global green energy initiatives? The S is the social side of it. Is there diversity in the workforce? Is there fair labor practices? And the G is governance. How is the business governed? Is there diversity on the board of directors? Or is there executive pay standards? And then is there any corruption or lobbying that investors should be aware of? The idea behind ESG investing is a very well-intentioned idea. Investors love the idea to be able to truly put their money into causes that they believe in, that are important to themselves, to their own values. You always have a choice when investing. So it feels good for investors to be able to choose things that they truly believe in. And while we see these positives in this form of investing, it's very important that investors understand the shortcomings that we do see with the products that are offered out there at this time. The most common way that investors are getting into this ESG space is through mutual funds or exchange-traded funds that market themselves as being an ESG investment. There are some shortcomings that we think are important to highlight. One of them is there really is no universal guidelines to what is a true ESG company. There's no regulation around that. There are some third-party providers that will rank a company into whether it adheres to environmental, social, and governance guidelines, but there's no universal standard. Another shortcoming is that one person's beliefs or values may differ from someone else's. And one person may believe differently in what true environmental causes are, or social causes, or governance causes. You don't have control over what's getting chosen in that fund. This is a third party or manager that's making that subjective call. Some other things to consider are that generally fees are a bit higher in these mutual funds. It takes more manpower, more due diligence to look into what is truly an ESG company. One of the bigger concerns that we have is concentration risk. A significant amount of companies in most of these funds are technology companies. So you have to be aware of what your holdings are outside of this ESG fund, making sure you're not too concentrated in one sector. The last thing to consider is that regulatory authorities are taking notice of the growing amount of ESG mutual funds and exchange-traded funds that are available for purchase. And they want to make sure that investors aren't being misled or misrepresented. So there is growing concern that you will see regulatory authorities delve into this part of the market more. That can surely lead to some volatility. In the end, investors need to be careful that the emotion behind trying to do good for society overshadows some of the core investing principles. Knowing what you own, doing the appropriate due diligence, making sure that you're not concentrated in one area of the market, making sure that you're getting a good risk-adjusted return for your long-term investment objectives. And for every client, it's different. There may be some clients that want to invest in a very targeted mutual fund. But then for others, it may just be making more direct contributions to philanthropic efforts that you believe in. Everybody is different. We are more than willing to discuss if ESG investing makes sense for you and your long-term risk objectives. So please feel free to reach out to any of our financial advisors.